What's up, guys? Welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga video. This is HTG Brian, and today I've got level 35, Destroying Starkiller free play. We're going to get all 6 of those Kyber bricks. Of course, that true Jedi status of 80k is pretty easy in this one, if I'm being honest. We also have 5 mini-kits we're going to round up. However, I did manage to get one in the story. I tried to avoid, but it just would not allow me to do so. And the same applies to one of the 3 challenges. But never fear, we're going to show you where they all are and how to complete them as we go through. And if you're in a hurry to jump around, or maybe you missed something in your first go, we've got those quick links down below. So yeah, basically there is a challenge called Heck of a Pilot. Break out of enemy lock-ons 3 times. And, I didn't break out of any of them in my story run. In fact, I crashed once, but that's it. And so maybe once I broke a lock because I died, but I don't know. For whatever reason, it counted it. I tried it 2 or 3 times in story. It didn't allow me to avoid it. And the same with this mini kit. In the trench run, there are a bunch of things you need to destroy to get a mini kit, but there's also one just floating there. And I was way up flying above it, nowhere near touching it, and somehow it collected it. So don't worry, we'll show you where it is. I'm positive that you got it in your story run, but in the event you didn't, we'll show you where to swoop it up. Now, as soon as we get going here, I get a lock on me, and I begin the first of 3. This is definitely a great place to do it, as you have control of the forward story progression. If you don't take out all of the items listed on the left, you can stay here forever. I don't think anybody wants to really do that, but the goal of this is to go ahead and make sure that as you're flying around, taking out the antennas, the cannons, and the TIE fighters, you're going to want to make sure that you get locked onto, and of course, press the icons prompted. For us, it's L1 and R1. I do believe that just simply doing a roll will work too, but, just in case, I would stick with the double button pressings, the L1, R1, or the LT, RT, or I don't know what the switch is. I apologize for that. I should know, but all right, we're taking out a various plethora of things. We're getting some ties. We're taking out some antennae. In fact, we got all 15 of those guys done. Now, I want to also just sort of point out, too, that I had to do this a handful of times. I scouted it once doing the free play. I failed in my first attempt of recording. I also missed a thing in the scout, so I had to do 2 scoutings. Don't tell anyone, but essentially what I'm getting at here, though, is every time I loaded in, I actually was gifted a different ship. So at first, the first time I did it, I actually was the Falcon, and it was kind of clunky and all over the place and seemingly slow. The second time I loaded in, I'm not very good with the ships, but I do think it was one of the TIE fighters. I didn't even think it would dump me in, but what was weird is it wouldn't allow me to lock on to the enemy ties. So I don't know what that was about. So if you run into that, my best advice is to go ahead and restart the level. Usually restarting your system, whether it's PlayStation or PC or whatever you're on, usually helps as well. Not just a restart of the level, but of the system too. All right, you notice that I got locked onto right at the end and it completed the 3rd roll, which should have given me challenge 1, Heck of a Pilot. And now we're dumped into the trench. And my best advice here is to basically just stay right in the middle, and your auto aim is going to lock on to enough of these cannons along the side of the trenches. You just need to take out 10, and trust me, there are way more than 10. Now, if somehow you made it through that first area and you didn't get the lock on, there's also some chances here too. So just know that the trench run is awfully short, and as soon as it goes, there's like a gap in the trench. In fact, we're about ready to go through it right now. You can see there's a little bit of a break. There's like holes on the side. Right here is where that other mini kit was. And it's a little ironic that it finally counted that mini kit for us getting all 10 of those items right at the same time that you would expect to get that kit. Unless it was right there at the break. I don't think it was right at the very, very, very end. I think it was just right at the very end. Now, as soon as you get to the end of the trench, it does cue a cutscene, but because this is free play, we have removed it. Now, we're back at another saber battle with Kylo here on the ground. It's all snowy, and actually that's going to play a part in a minute, because one of our challenges is actually called Snow Joke. I know that sounds like some sort of bad dad joke that I would throw into my wording, but no, it's actually the real name of the challenge. And it requires you to make a snowman out of Kylo. Now, that's a little confusing based on what you have to do, because there's some debris on the ground in this second section, which we're still not there. We're still in the first fight here. And that snow pile is sort of disguised, and honestly, when you're locked on with a Saber character, it's really hard to get the camera to look at anything but Kylo Ren. So we've got some tips and tricks on how to get that done, but just know that it's a really weird spot, and of course, the camera always fixates on the Kylo when you have a Saber. And anyways, all right, so moving along, we're going to go ahead and show you where the first opportunity to knock some helmets off of some snowtroopers are. Now, fun fact, there's actually a spot with 5 in one group, and then there's a whole bunch more later, but we're going to actually take out 4 of them now just to get it done because we're going to avoid some of the snowtroopers ourselves later. Not all of them, just a little bit, because there's a left and a right path, and we're going to choose the right path because it's the right path. No, bad, boo. All right, speaking of bad dad jokes. But basically, there's a couple of Minikits on the right side up here. So we're almost to the second section. We'll know as soon as we get dropped down below. And, of course, I'm going to switch on over to Finn, who's carrying the Saber now, but I do believe it switches characters. This level was really weird with how it sort of functioned and performed. Like I said, it was already switching my vehicles out every time. And one of my runs, it, like, had me as R2 and one of the... oh, gosh, I can't even think of what it was, like a Geonesian soldier or something. I don't remember what it was. It was something weird and not right. But as soon as you can, when you drop down below, make your way to the back left corner, and you're going to see a couple of big snowballs. We're going to destroy them and build them up into a snowman. Then we're going to toggle over to a character that has the Force, and this is tricky, you guys. Once you pick this thing up and throw it, that's your only go at it. So make sure you've got him lined up. I got lucky right there. In fact, one of my fails was I missed. I thought I had him lined up, and I threw it, and right as I threw it, he jumped. It's sort of a frustrating challenge in a sense because, like I already mentioned earlier, it sort of locks on to him if you're using a lightsaber wielding character, and it's almost impossible to actually see or look at those snow piles unless you toggle to your secondary character. So fingers crossed that you guys got that done and you're ready to move on like we are. Now, go ahead and deplete or Demeter, and there's going to be this little scene here where we sort of have a battle of the Force. And of course, if you spam fast enough, you will win. I don't know what happens if you don't. I don't recommend trying it because it might result in a failure. But ultimately, you get a hold of the Saber. This is where those snow troopers drop down. In fact, if you notice on screen, there are 5 of them right here. So line them up and pop those helmets off. In fact, you need to get 5 of them. So make sure you get them all. And if you took some out already, that'll save you some time. But you actually need to take all these bad guys out. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you can actually take them down without knocking their helmets off. I know we've had this discussion before, and 1 or 2 of you have commented, said, oh, it didn't happen for me. It's likely because you ran by them, or maybe used a lightsaber-wielding character as opposed to a blaster. Not sure what the case is. All right, once the TIE Fighter crashes down, though, you're going to want to switch to a character that can use the Force. Now, again, this level was wonky, and it kept switching my characters out for me, and I wasn't really sure, like, what is happening here? So I go ahead and pick out one of my favorite Jedi characters, Obi-Wan. Everybody excited for that new series coming out? I guess depending on when you're watching this, I mean, it may be like 2029, and there may be like 7 seasons of it already. I don't know how many they're gonna go with it. Probably just a couple, but I do look forward to those kind of side stories or side shows. Very much enjoy those. All right, stack these boxes up on the far right side before going up on the TIE. It doesn't matter how you get them. You just need to get high enough to grab that bad boy floating up on that tree. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to where the TIE crashed, and we're going to toggle to a scavenger character. Doesn't matter who it is as long as you can pull out the breaker blaster. And it's important to note that we're going to take the right path here. And along the right wall, we're actually going to have to kind of turn and almost bust a Yui and look down below and woohoo, kablooey. Haha. All right, we'll go ahead and sneak in after, I think it took 3 shots with the blaster. Now we're going to toggle to somebody who got double jump. And I actually saw Jar Jar, and I figured a few of you would get triggered for me using him, so I went ahead and pulled him up, and we're going to double jump up onto this rock formation here, where the final Minikit is actually waiting for us to claim. So, woo to the who! So we got all 3 of those challenges. We got the snow joke by slamming that snowman into Kylo. We also got that heck of a pilot for breaking out of 3 enemy lock-ons in that first and second section. And last but not least, we got keeping a cool head, where we popped the helmets off of 5 snow troopers. And if somehow you didn't get that done yet, you still got an opportunity right here. Just don't climb this wall and take out those guys. And of course, aim for the melon. Now we're going to drop down and, of course, finish this level, as that's what we do. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and use that save and exit feature, but we wanted to get our cha-cha-cha-cha on one last time. And, you know, we feel like we're getting pretty stinking good at these saber battles. My blocks could improve a wee bit, but my, you know, my damage meter is, I don't know, my damage per second, I think, has gone up quite a bit since my first goes in story. Now, we're almost there, halfway done did, and of course, once we get all the way to the end, it will trigger a cutscene for you, but we have skipped it. Basically, we had to edit it out. This is one of those weird levels, too, where the initial cutscene was skippable, but the middle one, in between the trench runs and the fighting, I couldn't skip that, and the last one, right there at the end, I couldn't skip that one either. I have no idea. I seem to be like one of the only people on the planet that is having that issue where I can't skip all of the cutscenes, I can only skip some of them. Feel free to let me know how it's working out for you, unless you're able to skip all of them. Please don't rub it in. I don't want to know that you're able to skip them. But if you're with me and you're stuck and you can't skip all of them, please let me know. All right, we got that true Jedi status of 80K. In fact, we destroyed it. We more than doubled it. I sort of milked the studs at the beginning there, but I didn't really need to. But I did anyways. It was fun. I got paid. We got all 3 of those challenges. We've gone over them a couple of times, so I won't go into details. And of course, we started the level with the 1 Minikit at the end of the trench run that we could not avoid in story, and we got the rest of them here. Hopefully, it was easily followed, and hopefully you got all 5 of them as well. So, no chips or characters given. We got those in story. I still think that's like a display glitch. I think that'll get patched out at some point. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a reminder, like, hey, remember when you did this? Hey, speaking of remembering, don't forget to check out HappyThumbsGaming.com. It's the home of our trophy achievement guides and more. And of course, got to give some love to Tyler P for completing that guide for me. If you haven't checked it out, go do it right now. As for me, though, that's going to do it. As always, until next time, see ya.